Hi, kindergarten. Happy Wednesday. So, for today um, and tomorrow, we're going to compare these two books for our test on Friday. So, please make sure you pay close attention to this book that we're going to read today, Caps for Sale, and the book we're going to read tomorrow, Hats, Hats, Hats. So, as you know, this week we've been talking about fiction and nonfiction books. So, let's review. Fiction books are made up stories from the author's imagination. Fiction is not real. Fiction is not real. And fiction books have illustrations, they have pretend, like dragons and monsters, and they have story elements that we talked about before, like characters and setting, problem, solution. So fiction books are not real. They come from the author's imagination. The other type of book we talked about this week is nonfiction. And nonfiction fiction text teaches us about real information and facts. It teaches us about real information and facts. And nonfiction is real. And so nonfiction text may have talk about the world, it has text features, it has photographs, and some topics they may include are like holidays, animals, sports. So nonfiction, it teaches us about information and facts. Fiction comes from the author's imagination. So today we're gonna read a story, like I said, called Caps for Sale, a tale of a peddler, some monkeys, and their monkey business. So, a peddler is a person who sells things. And so, while I'm reading, I want you to think about, is this story fiction or nonfiction? And how do you know? And so, the monkeys in the story also, they are characters in this folk tale. So the monkeys are characters and the peddler sells things. So let's read to find out what happens with the peddler, his caps, and those monkeys. This is the title page. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler, carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First, he had on his own checked cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. Do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea that he has all those caps on his head? Hmm. And why do you think that? Great, thank you for answering. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight so as not to upset his caps. As he went along, he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," said he, and he walked out of town slowly, slowly, so as not to upset his caps. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," thought he, and he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were straight. First his own check cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. Hmm. I wonder why he checked to see if his caps were on there. That's interesting. They were all there, so he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt his head. Sorry, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. All he felt was his own check cap. As a good reader, I'm noticing that he has a problem. What is his problem? Yeah, if you said all his caps are gone, you got it right. That is a major problem he has. He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in back of him, excuse me, no caps. He looked behind the tree, no caps. I wonder where the caps are going to be. Then he looked up into the tree, and what do you think he saw? So let's pause. What do you think he saw in the tree? Okay, let's read to find out if you were correct. On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. So, if you were right, you said those monkeys took the caps. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. You monkeys, you, he said, shaking a finger at them, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, zzz. That's funny. This made the peddler angry, so he shook both hands at them and said, you monkeys, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys only shook both their hands back at him and said, zzz, zzz, zzz. Interesting. Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and said, you monkeys, you better give me back my caps. But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, why do you think the monkeys are stamping their feet too? Yeah, they copying off of him. They're imitating him. They do exactly what he does. And so, what do you think is going to happen next? All right, let's see if you are correct. By this time, the peddler was very, very angry. He stamped both his feet and shouted, you monkeys, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys only stamped both their feet back at him and said, zoop, zoop, zoop. At last, he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap, threw it on the ground, and began to walk away. All right, let's think. We noticed something. What do you think the monkeys are going to do next? And what makes you think that? All right, let's see what they're going to do. But then each monkey pulled off his cap, and all the gray caps, and all the brown caps, and all the blue caps, and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First his own check cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly, he walked back to town, calling caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap. Okay, that's the end of the book. So I hope you're paying attention to the elements of the story. So I want to know from you, is this book fiction or nonfiction? And how do you know? That's what your assignment is going to be today. Make sure that you watch this video at least twice and the video for tomorrow at least twice so that you're able to be prepared for your test on Friday. All right, thank you, kindergarten. Have an amazing day. See you next time.